Okay, fourth grade, today's the day we put together our rhythm practice that we've been doing, and we put together our newer skill of reading those notes on a treble staff, and we read a piece of music and play Name That Tune. So if you don't have one already, go grab a piece of paper and a pencil and join me for reading a piece of music. So our newer skill is learning the name of the lines and the spaces in the treble clef. So we have said that if a note is centered on a line, that note is named by the line it is centered on. And we have a sentence that helps us. And that sentence is Elvis goes bombing down freeways. We have also said if a note is centered on a space, we name it by the space it is centered on. So each space has a name, and we have said space, face, space, face. Now for the song that we're going to read today, we also need to know the name if a note is centered right below that line. That is a space right below this line. So this one on the line we know is E, and if I were saying my ABCs, I'd say A, B, C, D. Oh, D comes right before E. So the note that would be centered right below this line is D, and I say deface. It hit me in deface, okay? So notice as I wrote each one, I wrote with a capital letter. That is how we notate musical notes, is with a capital letters. Their names are important, and so it is named with a capital letter. So that is a review. Now with your piece of paper, what I would like you to do in just a moment is I would like you to write down the names of each one of these notes. So take a moment now and go ahead and write down the name of each one of these notes. Come back when you're done. Stop the tape now. All right, let's see how you did. This was our new note, okay? Deface. It's right below. It's on the space right below. That is our D. Elvis goes. Elvis goes bombing. Elvis goes. Elvis goes bombing. This note is centered on a space. So this is space, F-A. Okay. This is centered on a line. Elvis goes. There's Elvis. This is below, deface. Okay, same, you can tell it's just lined up. There's another D. Elvis goes. Elvis goes bombing. Elvis goes. Now, our goal is not to do Elvis goes bombing and deface every time. Our goal is that when I see this, I know it's on the second line. I automatically in my brain know that's a G. I automatically know in my brain that's in the middle, that's a B. I automatically know that this is kind of in the middle, okay, here, that's an A. So eventually, we're learning right now, but eventually our goal is to not have to write these down, but just to know them. Okay, here's what I'd like you to do now. I'd like you to take a look at the rhythms as far as the notes, and we will do the ta and the t's as far as how many beats each one of these notes gets. So before we do that, let's take a look at something else. Let's take a look at the time signature here. This is in 3/4 time. Again, like I said at the beginning, we're working in the treble clef, which doesn't make as much difference for rhythms as it did for our note names, but we are doing 3/4 time. So this song would be counted 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And I would make that triangle if I were directing it. So the funny thing about this song is this measure, every measure should have 3 beats with the quarter note getting 1 count, but this measure only has like 1 beat. Well, it's not a complete measure. This is called a pickup note. And what would happen, this is only 1 beat, is at the very end of the song, which we don't have the very end of the song. I only pulled out 5 and part of a measure for you to name the tune. You're missing 2 beats would be at the very end of your song. And this is called a pickup note. So when I count this in a minute, I'll go 1, 2, 3, ready, clap. Okay, and we're going to clap the rhythms, and we are going to say the rhythms. So what I'd like you to do is figure out the rhythms on your own, how you would say the tas, the ta-ahs, the tt-ts. Practice clapping. Remember, this is ta, okay? So ta and tt and ta is what you're going to see in here. Practice clapping those, and when you're ready, come back and let's do it together. Okay, here we go. So let's go ahead, and I will say 1, 2, 3, ready, clap. And we'll clap and we'll clap and say. So 1, 2, 3, 1, ready, clap. Ta, ta, ti, ta, 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 ti. Okay, I'm going to point this time. I think that might be a little bit easier. Okay, so you clap and say. I am going to point. 1, 2, 3, ready, clap. Ta, ta, ti, ta, 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 ti. Okay, could you pick up on what the song is from just the rhythm? A couple of you may have been able to, but it's really hard to do a song with just the rhythm. So now we're going to put these 2 things together, and we're going to play a song. I want to mention one more thing before I do that. In this song, if I were playing it on the piano, you're going to see this hashtag right here. That hashtag is not a hashtag in music. It's called a sharp. And what that would mean is if I were playing the song on the piano and I got to the Elvis Goes Bombing Down, okay, if I got to the freeways, I wouldn't play a straight F. I would play a half step up. And it's where you play black keys on the piano. Most of the time it's a black key. A couple of times it's not. Sometimes it's a white key that's a half step up. But most of the time, this would be I play on the black keys. It does not come into play in this song. The part that we're looking at here, it does not come into play. And in fact, I don't believe it comes to play in the whole song. So we're going to go ahead now and play this on the xylophone. You may have one of these at home. So now we know the note names. We know how fast or how slow to play those notes. We know the rhythm of the notes. And if you have a xylophone, it should have those note names written right on the metal bars. So let me play this for you. I'm going to push this up just a little bit so you can see me play it. And let me play this for you. And we're going to play the song and see if you can name that tune. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay, and that's all I have written out. Did you know what it was? Could you name the tune? I bet you could, and it was Amazing Grace. So I am going to include a link to the PDF for Amazing Grace when I post this lesson. Now, when you look at this lesson, if you want to go and read further into this song, okay, we only played Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a. Okay, if you want to decode the rest of the song and see if you can play it on like a xylophone, or I'm going to show you something fun called a virtual piano in a moment, you will not look at this bottom line. You are only going to look at the top. You're going to look at the treble line, and you're going to ignore the bass clef line. So you could write your note names right above. You could print this out, write the note names right above, decode, and play it if you have a xylophone. Now, if you don't have a xylophone, online there are a couple of really fun virtual pianos. I'm going to show you one. I'm going to put a link in the post. I'll put a link below. But you can play it on a virtual piano. So looking again at this piece of music, okay, I would play, and you could click it with your mouse. And you're going to start with that D, amazing. Okay, D, G, B, G, B, A, G, E, okay? And you could play it here. There is the link I'm going to give you is called onlinepianist.com. And when you go on, you will see something that looks like this. This is how you could play this on a keyboard. In other words, this C, you could play Q, D, you could play W. I really don't think that's a good idea. If you're interested in playing the piano at some point, that could give you bad habits just playing on the keyboard with different fingerings and that kind of a thing. But if you are, there are actually virtual piano competitions. If you're thinking you're going to maybe, hey, I'd like to do this, there are virtual piano competitions, people who get really good at like playing the piano on their keyboard. So if that's something you just think is fun, I'm not really going to take up the piano, you could do that. But what you can do is turn those off. And that's what I would recommend, is turn those off. And you can put on, if right up here at the top, keyboard marks, you're going to click that. That'll turn off those keyboards. But then you can do the letter notes, okay? And that puts those letters on here. Now, here's the problem you're going to have. A piano has 88 keys, and it has 8 middle C's. Okay, so it has 8 C's. You want to find the one we call middle C. So it has 8 C's on a keyboard. On this keyboard, you're going to see the dot on middle C. There's a little dot there. And that's going to kind of be your starting point. So we are going to play, when we're looking at this octave right here and a little bit beyond is where this song would be notated. This is where our recorder plays, is this in this range as well, from middle C and a bit above, okay? So this is where we will play on the recorder. You need that middle C. This is your singing range. So if you're playing a C and you're playing notes, your D, G, and it seems way too low for you to sing, you probably don't have, on a regular piano, you probably do not have the middle C. You have the C below middle C. If you're playing this and it seems way too high, you're probably not playing with middle C, you're playing the octave above the octave that we are notating in. So you're on this, I like it because you've got your dot on that middle C. So when you play your D, if you want to play this on the online piano, you would start with that D right above middle C. So I hope that what you will do is go and read the rest of this song in the treble line, and then go ahead and play like on that online pianist, and see if you can play it using like your mouse, playing the notes. Play it in the right rhythms. It becomes totally different song if you play Amazing Grace, how sweet. It becomes a totally different song if you play it with different rhythms. Or if you have like a xylophone at home, you could play it on something like that. So I hope you take this opportunity to put reading rhythms together with reading music and play this piece. We'll see you later.